I'm Daniel Carter. In 2001, I stood amid the bustle of Charlotte Douglas Airport, my wife Lisa and our kids Emma and Noah radiating excitement for our Orlando vacation. Flight 616 was our escape from my grueling architect job, a chance to mend our strained family ties. The terminal pulsed with early 2000s life, travelers in loose cargo pants lugging hefty carry-ons, teens with clunky CD players blasting Linkin Park through cheap earbuds, their sneakers scuffing the polished floor. The plane waited outside, a gleaming silver beast with Flight 616 painted in bold letters, catching the Carolina sun, promising days of laughter and warmth. My navy polo shirt clung damply to my back, my worn leather briefcase a heavy burden. Lisa's smile was warm but fragile, her dark hair in a loose ponytail, her eyes shadowed from my endless late nights at the office. Emma, 11, held her stuffed cat tightly, its fur worn thin. Noah, 8, bounced on his toes, asking if we'd ride Space Mountain. My job had been a merciless grind, blueprints stacking up, clients demanding impossible deadlines, robbing me of time with my family. This trip was Lisa's quiet plea, her hope to stitch us back together, to rediscover the spark we'd lost in the haze of my work. We moved through the gate, boarding passes crumpled in my fist. A stranger caught my eye, a lean, weathered man in a frayed denim jacket, maybe late 50s, standing apart from the crowd. He flipped through a tattered journal, his sharp eyes scanning passengers, lingering on us a moment too long before dropping back to his pages. I dismissed it as travel nerves, but his presence stuck like a splinter. He boarded behind us, slipping into a seat several rows back, his figure fading into the cabin's dim corners. The plane's interior was a time capsule. Cramped seats in tacky blue fabric, overhead bins creaking under stuffed bags. Flight attendants in navy vests offered pretzels and sodas, their name tags glinting under fluorescent lights. I settled into my aisle seat, Lisa beside me, her hand brushing mine as she opened a dog-eared Cosmopolitan. Emma and Noah shared a Game Boy, their heads close, the faint sounds of Pokémon battles drifting out. A TV screen on the bulkhead flickered with a CNN clip about the new GameCube, its promise of fun mocking my exhaustion. My gut churned, not just anticipation, but a deeper unease, a premonition I couldn't shake. I squeezed Lisa's hand, her warmth a fleeting anchor. The engines roared, and we lifted off, Charlotte's skyline fading below. I had no idea this was the last time I'd feel their presence, the last time my world would hold together. Flight 616 sliced through the clouds, the cabin a restless snapshot of 2001, but unease simmered beneath the surface. I shifted uncomfortably, my polo shirt chafing my skin, my leather briefcase wedged under the seat like a link to my faltering life. Lisa flipped through her magazine, pausing on a glossy ad for a new perfume, her expression distant. Emma doodled in a notebook, sketching a lopsided cat with a crooked tail, while Noah battled a digital Squirtle, his fingers frantic on the Game Boy's buttons. Passengers around us were engrossed, men scrolling flip phones, their screens casting dim glows, a woman nodding to Alicia Keys on a portable CD player, the rhythm leaking faintly through her earphones. Charlotte had been a cage, clients slashing budgets, deadlines stealing every spare moment, pulling me away from Lisa and the kids. This trip was our chance to rebuild, to rediscover the family we'd been. I glanced at my briefcase, stuffed with old sketches for a community center I'd pitched years ago, now a forgotten dream buried under corporate demands. The denim-jacketed man a few rows back caught my eye, his head bent over his journal, pen moving in quick, jagged strokes. His face was half hidden, but his eyes flicked up, locking on us for a heartbeat before dropping back to his pages. Was he just a nervous traveler, or was there something more? A flight attendant passed, her tray clinking with cups, muttering to a colleague about storm warnings up north. Her voice was low, but it hit me like a cold gust, prickling my skin. The plane dipped suddenly, a jolt that sent murmurs rippling through the cabin. The engines whined, their pitch shifting slightly, gnawing at my nerves. The stranger's pen paused, his gaze darting to the wing outside his window, his jaw tightening before he resumed writing. I leaned toward Lisa, whispering, "Just turbulence, right?" She nodded, but her grip on my hand tightened, her knuckles whitening, her pulse a faint thrum. Emma's pencil stopped, her hazel eyes flicking to the ceiling, searching for answers in the flickering lights. Noah stayed lost in his game, oblivious, but the jolt had shaken me. A sense that this wasn't just another flight. The flight attendant steadied herself, her smile forced, her eyes darting to the cockpit door. The cabin's 2001 veneer, flip phones buzzing, CD players humming, a Shrek trailer looping on the TV, felt brittle, like a facade about to crack. I wanted to believe we'd land in Orlando, laugh under palm trees, but the air grew heavy, a silent warning coiling around us. Lisa's fingers clung to mine, her warmth the only anchor in a rising sea of dread. But even that felt fragile, slipping through my grasp like sand. The sky turned black as coal around Flight 616, clouds roiling like a living beast, devouring every trace of daylight. I gripped my armrest, sweat making the plastic slick, my heart pounding so fiercely it seemed ready to burst through my chest. Lisa held Emma and Noah close, their small bodies trembling against her. Emma's stuffed cat abandoned on the floor, Noah's Game Boy sliding under a seat, his eyes wide with terror. The cabin shook violently, passengers frozen. A businessman fumbled his flip phone, its screen dark. A woman clutched a locket, her lips moving in silent prayer. The overhead lights flickered, the captain's voice slicing through static, "Severe storm ahead, brace yourselves." The words were a death sentence, stripping away any hope. Lisa's hand found mine, her fingers icy, her voice a trembling whisper, "Daniel, this isn't normal." The plane lurched hard, a tray cart crashing into the aisle, spilling cups and napkins across the floor. A flight attendant stumbled, catching herself on a seat, her Navy vest creased, her face pale as she muttered about wind shear risks. The denim-jacketed man sat rigid, his journal open, pen scratching frantically, eyes darting between the window and the cockpit door. He leaned toward a flight attendant, his voice sharp, gesturing urgently. She nodded, hands shaking, hurrying forward as the plane tilted again. A sickening drop, drawing gasps and a child's scream. The engines whined, a piercing screech cutting through, followed by a bone-rattling thud. Passengers cried out, a man shouting, "What's breaking?" The lights blinked, plunging us into darkness for a moment before stuttering back. Emma buried her face in Lisa's side, her braid unraveling, her frame shaking. Noah clung to my arm, his nails digging in, his whimper barely audible. "Dad?" I whispered, "We're okay." But the lie burned, hollow and useless. The stranger's gaze met mine, cold and unreadable before he resumed writing, as if etching our fate. Lightning flashed, bathing the cabin in stark white, shadows twisting across terrified faces, eyes wide, mouths open, hands grasping. The plane shuddered, a deep groan vibrating through the floor, metal straining against the storm's wrath. A woman's scream cut off, her purse spilling, keys and coins skittering under seats. The flight attendant braced against the bulkhead, knuckles white, eyes locked on the exits, her training crumbling. The storm's roar bled through the walls, a predator circling its prey. I held Lisa's hand tighter, her pulse racing, her warmth fading in panic's grip. The cabin was no sanctuary. It was a coffin, hurtling toward doom, my family's frightened faces, Emma's tears, Noah's trembling lips, the only light in the dark. The storm became a ravenous monster, its jaws tearing at Flight 616, rain pummeling the fuselage like gunfire. Lisa clutched Emma and Noah, their sobs muffled. Emma's stuffed cat crushed under debris, Noah's eyes glistening with panic. My chest burned, sweat soaking my polo shirt, each jolt a sledgehammer to my bones. Passengers were paralyzed. A woman's prayers turned to wails. A man's flip phone clattered to the floor, hands too shaky to grab it. The cabin lights sputtered, the captain's desperate shout crackling through static, "Brace for impact!" Fear was a noose, choking us all. The plane plunged. A gut-wrenching drop, sending luggage crashing, plastic trays shattering. A flight attendant fell hard, her navy vest tearing on a jagged seat frame, blood trickling from her scalp as she crawled toward an exit. The denim-jacketed man stood, his voice cutting through screams, barking orders, journal gone, face grim. The engine screamed, then choked, a deafening crack splitting the air. Sparks flared, the wing glowing red, the cabin bucking like a dying beast. Passengers shrieked, a man's glasses flying as he gripped his seat, his scream lost. The plane spiraled, gravity betraying us. My vision blurring as I gripped Lisa's hand, her fingers slipping in my sweat. Emma's wail pierced my soul, her body curling into Lisa's. Noah's face was terror, hands clutching my arm, voice drowned. I wanted to shield them, but the storm's roar swallowed all, dragging us to oblivion. The stranger's eyes met mine, resigned, then braced against a seat. Lightning lit faces frozen in horror, hands grasping air. The fuselage groaned, metal tearing, the air acrid with burning wires. A handbag burst, spilling coins that rolled wildly, a futile echo of life. The flight attendant fumbled a lever, hands slick with blood, eyes wide with dread as the plane tilted. The storm's roar deafened, claiming us. I held Lisa's hand, her pulse fading, Emma and Noah's faces, tears trembling, the last I saw as darkness took us. A cataclysmic crash obliterated Flight 616, slamming into an Appalachian hollow with a force that broke my world. Metal shrieked as the fuselage carved a trench through mud and shale, my seatbelt slicing my chest, pain a dull roar against chaos. Glass exploded, shards raining, seats ripping free in twisted steel. A wing ignited, flames casting an orange glow, smoke and burning fuel choking the air. The captain's voice vanished in a wail of crumpling metal, screams fading to silence. The wreckage settled, nose crushed against a rusted mine chute, cockpit sunken into a sinkhole's maw. The tail lay shattered against a derelict barn, timbers jutting like bones. The valley was cursed, sinkholes yawning, rotting shacks leaning, a mill wheel creaking. Tunnel mouths gaped, carved with cryptic runes, spirals, eyes etched in coal dust. Bones littered the mud, human or animal unclear, a wolf's snarl piercing the dusk. The denim-jacketed man kicked open an exit, shouting, "Move!" A flight attendant dragged a corpse, blood pooling, her vest torn, eyes glassy. I staggered to Lisa's seat, suit shredded, arm bleeding, breath ragged, but truth hit like a hammer. Lisa, Emma, Noah were gone, seats mangled, a stuffed cat in mud, eyes blank. My knees buckled, grief ablade, my scream lost. I clawed debris, hands tearing, but found nothing. Survivors stumbled. A woman clutched her wrist, sobbing. Caleb, a teen, stood frozen, face ashen. Vince, the stranger, checked pulses, grim. A man lay dead, throat gashed, first death, blood soaking dirt, his stare burning my eyes. I retched, hands shaking. Vince barked, "Stay together!" Caleb's gaze met mine, empty. Wolves howled, rain fell, soaking us, the wreckage hissing, the hollow a tomb. I lurched from the wreckage, suit in tatters, blood seeping from my arm, the plane's nose buried in the mine chute, flames fading to embers. The Appalachian Hollow was a nightmare, sinkholes breathing rot, shacks sagging, tunnel mouths etched with runes, spirals, eyes, coal dust shimmering. Smoke burned my throat, hunger clawing my gut, lips cracked under freezing rain. Survivors staggered. A woman, wrist purple, sobbed. Caleb, a teen, trembled, face streaked with ash. Vince prowled, checking pulses, face stone, jacket bloodied. Grief crushed me. Lisa's laugh, Emma's sketches, Noah's questions, gone. I sank to mud, arm throbbing, starvation twisting my stomach. A man lay dead, first death, shrapnel in his throat, blood pooling, eyes fixed, searing my mind. I retched, shaking. Vince's voice cut, "Stay close." I dragged Caleb to a shack, walls damp, his backpack empty, no food, no water. Wolves howled, eyes glinting, wreckage hissing as rain turned to sludge. I searched debris, fingers bleeding on metal, finding only ash, no sustenance. Caleb's teeth chattered. "We're dead, aren't we?" I shook my head, throat tight. Vince scanned the dark, predator-like. The hollow lived, tunnels whispering threats, wolves bolder. Hunger was a beast, night a shroud, survival a flicker. Dawn bled gray over the hollow, a prison of mud and decay. I stood, suit filthy, arm swollen, fever creeping. The wreckage was a husk, nose deeper in the chute, tail charred. Sinkholes widened, shacks teetering, mill wheel silent. Survivors faded. A woman coughed, collapsed. Second death, twitching in mud, her gasp dying as I watched, bile rising. Vince counted, voice cracked. Fewer now. Hunger was fire, tungstone, lips splitting. I tore through a shack, hands trembling, finding splinters, nothing edible. A man chewed a weed, vomiting blood. Third death, convulsing. Screams fading as I stared, horror etched in my eyes. Caleb whispered, "We're next." Wolves prowled, snarls circling. Vince caught a woman hoarding fabric, her screams sparking a fight. Her husband shoved Vince, shouts drawing wolves. I broke it up, hoarse, "Stop!" Trust shattered. A tunnel's runes, skulls, warnings, stirred dread, a curse lurking. Sun burned cold, hunger a torturer, no food, only ash. Caleb's cough worsened, face pale. I searched again, hands torn, finding nothing. Wolves' growls grew, hollow mocking us, day a crucible of suffering. Third dawn scorched the hollow despair's furnace. I swayed, hunger a beast, arm blackening, fever blurring sight. Wreckage was ash, nose gone in chute, tail a skeleton. Sinkholes swallowed shards, shacks crumbled. A man knifed another for cloth, fourth death, blood spraying, gasp fading as I watched, hands shaking. Vince's eyes were hollow, jacket torn, leadership frayed. Starvation was torture, mouth desert, lips bleeding. I clawed debris, hands tearing, finding ash, no food. A girl ate berries, screaming, fifth death, lips foaming, writhing as I stood frozen, agony branded in me. Caleb's cough deepened, blood on lips. Wolves lunged, teeth snapping. I swung a plank, arm screaming. Vince caught a thief stealing a flare. Sixth death, skull cracked, blood pooling as I stared, shock churning. Group fractured, accusations flying. I entered a tunnel, gas burning lungs, found a locket, my firm's logo, my initials. A deal I'd buried, fraud, death's tide, runes, eyes, curses, pulsed, hollow judging. Gas forced me out, coughing blood. Caleb's eyes dimmed, wolves closer. Day, a chain of betrayal and hunger. Fourth, dawn blazed, hollow a grave. I leaned on a shack, suit strips, hunger a noose, arm oozing, fever raging. Wreckage dust, sinkholes gaping, millwheel buried. A man drank sinkhole slime, choking. Seventh death, eyes bulging, slumping as I stared, numb. Vince's voice rasped, hope dead. My tongue bled, starvation of fire. I tore metal, hands shredded, finding ash, no food. A woman ate a vine, fell. Eighth death, lips black, convulsing as I watched, heart hollow. Caleb's cough was blood, voice gone. Wolves attacked. I swung a pipe, pain screaming. Gas seeped from a tunnel, lungs burning. A note, my name, he sold us. My fraud killed workers. Tied here? A man clawed a woman, her scream cut. Ninth death, neck snapped, blood soaking mud, my eyes locked. Group gone, me, Caleb, Vince left. Wolves circled, gas choked, runes, curses, watched. Hollow was death, no rescue, only torment. Fifth day, a chopper roared, crews flooding the hollow. I stood, husk, Caleb dead at dawn. 10th death, face still, tears falling. 9 bodies hauled, my family's grave dust. Hospital sterile, machines beeping, walls cold. Nurse stitched arm, you're alive. Alive, heart ash. Medic gave Vince's journal. 11th death, bloodied in mud. Photo, my partner, pilot. Note, knew your scam. My fraud, rigged deal, dead workers haunted him. He landed here, died for us. In 2025, I'm 66. At a memorial park I built, kids' laughter like Noah's. Hollow's runes scar me. Lisa's love my spark.